Yeah, welcome Edgecasters. I'm assuming you are Edgecasters because otherwise you wouldn't be interested in something that's called Edgecasting. And I know that some of you have started something, some of you are about to start a broadcast of some sort. And as you may or may not know, I have been creating weekly Edgecasts for a bit more than a year and a few months. And it's been a journey that I thought it's worth sharing, because what I see as a necessity, and what is a necessity for me, is to create content that is really building bridges to the edge. And that is what I take a stand for, to create content which is basically, we're all aware of stories. Basically, we're creating stories to empower people, to pave the path to in-person events. Could be your trainings, could be expand the box trainings, it could be other sort of bridge spaces, so that humans can really get together. And what I've found is that broadcasting is a way where people can get familiar with you and with an area in their own time. It's less invasive or less immediate as an in-person space, and yet it builds matrix. It helps to build matrix. And so that's sort of the business or growness of an Edgecast, is to help people build matrix and to build a bridge so that they can find their way to the edge, or maybe they are already at the edge and they can find their way further along the bridge into archiarchy. And so Edgecasting is really about helping to build out and map out the path to archiarchy. And why Edgecast and not just call it podcast? And I found out that thanks to questions that Anne-Chloe asked me early on in my podcasting experiments, she asked me, what are you actually up to? It doesn't sound like you're doing a podcast. I would invite you to think about what it actually is. And so I did, and came up with Edgecast, because a podcast is like it's a term that was coined in patriarchy, and it comes from Apple iPod that was used at the time to listen to these little broadcasts. And I wasn't so interested in promoting that. And then when I felt more into it, it's like, Edgecasting is really broadcasting from the edge, about edge workers, or to edge workers. So I love that casting is also, you can also, in fishing, you can cast a line, and it's like we're casting out and we're reeling them in, or we're bringing them into this context of, hey, there's another context possible, and you could be part of it. So that's my that's the background of the word creation, and it is sort of taking more shape as it's being built out. And and I would love to hear what brings you here to start off. Like, what is your curiosity about Edgecast? And let's do a round of sharing, checking in what brings you here. And Edgecast, I'm going to add this, that if you're broadcasting from the edge, or if anything that's called Edgecast, what happens at the edge? Like, if you go to the edge of your culture, of your box, of that which you are used to, what happens there? What happens for you there? You feel something.
Yeah.
I feel really scared, right? Otherwise, you're not at the edge. Yeah. So fear is a real part of this adventure. And so let's use fear as an invitation to speak. So if you're scared or you don't know what to say, then I invite you to lean into that and just speak without knowing, and just start.
I'm here because I've been I've been making videos, and I love it when I'm having a conversation with another edge worker and I'm asking questions or yeah, making proposals that where they unfold more about what they're really up to. And so yeah, I want to I want to it's like there's another level of doing it that I think being here is could empower for me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll share that. I've been also making videos, and there's this realization recently that it's like I'm stopping being at the edge, and it's like I'm rescuing people with the videos that I'm making, and it's not being in my edge anymore. And I'm seeing that it's not being in my edge, and what I'm turned on about this idea of being in my edge and not like creating that space for bridging people into their edge where they can also be in their edge. And I have inside of me like this still like programming of patriarchy or programming of trying to sell stuff or convince people to get something, and it's not from my being, from the now. Is something planned, something that is not about being in my edge, but it's being selling something. And I'm here to learn. Yeah, I'm turned on about learning how I can tell stories from my edge to bridge people to my edge where I don't have to stop being in my edge.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've been recording a guest on it's a podcast with somebody else who is a home educating mother, and I've been sharing some of the PM things like tools that I've been using, and she's now leaving home education and has offered to pass it over to me. And yeah, I feel I feel a lot of fear about shifting into the person that interviews or holds space for it, because up until now she's been interviewing me, and so it's it's shifting into that. And yeah, I have no idea how it will be or what it will look like. And yeah, just that, like, I have no idea how it goes. It was somehow easier when someone was holding the space and I could suggest topics, and yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have been recording conversations for about 2 years. It started as this regional thing during the COVID pandemic called, well, translated to transition talks. And yeah, and I think the reason I started those was that I longed to have these spaces where I could actually sit and talk to somebody like uninterrupted for about an hour. And somehow the Zoom spaces were like perfect venue. I didn't have to go anywhere or buy any equipment. I could just like sit at home. And then I just continued. And then I realized, oh, I want to expand this to even other languages because I'm bilingual myself. So I will also have interviews in Finnish, which is the other official language, Finnish and Swedish in Finland. And then I expanded also to have conversations in English. And then I thought, okay, I have to switch the name, so it's now coming down to earth. And when I was listening to you, Julia, about the name, there had been some resistance from my part. Like, what's the point? What's the difference? Like, you could be called anything. But when I hear you talking, I was like, aha, but there is a difference between a podcast and an Edgecast or something else. And also, as I'm listening to you, I realize I'm starting to slip into this discomfortable zone about these conversations I'm having. And so something needs to become a bit more dangerous there, so it doesn't just slip into this comfortable, I've done this so many times, I know how this goes kind of space. So yeah, that's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I started a podcast in 2021, and there are like 2 episodes on it where I'm talking about a topic, and that got pretty boring very fast. And then I started to invite other women, mostly first friends of mine who wanted to talk about an edge. Basically, yeah, it was an edge. One episode is about that healing is not politically correct, because during the pandemic there was this whole topic about political correctness and the story, and we were investigating the story. And the other one is about motherhood. And yeah, and then starting this, the name in the beginning was not clear for me also. And then somehow I stopped because I was blocked. I was giving into the block that I don't know how to name that thing, because I didn't want to do a podcast. And then you turned up with the Edgecast, and I was listening to the Edgecast, and there's a huge difference for me, because when I listen to these episodes, it's like, even when I'm almost slipping into a swamp, or when there are days where I feel like, okay, now, and my numbness bar goes high or something, I can just listen to an episode, and it's like it's opening up the space of Christine. Like that's what the Edgecast is for me. So my numbness bar immediately goes down again, and I think that's something people can get from listening to this if they want to. And I think this, just also the naming it Edgecast, and it immediately shifts the purpose, and then it's like something in all your bodies, that you go into something else right now. It's immediately another world. And yeah, so, and when you came up with this Edgecast, I was like, why didn't I name my thing that? Why didn't I I was and yeah. And now I kind of want to continue. I want to start over. I want to make something more out of this. I have like 2 other women who want to be interviewed, and I also want to make an Edgecast where also women speak who are not white, from colonized countries and all this stuff. And then I want to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
For me, I appreciate how the recordings actually have been my biggest access to possibility management. I'm just noticing that now, listening to your sharing, Christine. And so this style of creating content has been really impactful for me. And I think it was like 1 or 2 days before I saw your offering, Julia, in the PM events group, I got the download from Gaia that I'm to do a sort of space where I'm sharing, interviewing people to share their birth stories online and in something in this sort of a style, like a podcast or an Edgecast or this sort of recording. And it's the space that I'm working in right now is birth and shortly after birth with women. And I love it because it rocks the patriarchy. It's so wild. It can't be contained in that sort of space. Women are fierce and feeling for the most part because it's so big energetically, emotionally. So I had this idea, this download from Gaia to do an Edgecaster, a podcast about women's birth stories, sharing their birth stories, and me holding space as someone who has practice in conscious feelings and encouraging them to go deeper into the feelings of it and the depths of it. So I'm here. So thanks for offering it. It's a nice coincidence and nice timing.
Thank you, Echo. Yeah.
Uh,
Have you spoken to Hannah Abu Zara, or do you know of her?
I don't think so.
She's in one of the episodes, and she's in the background team of Radically Live Women Edgecast. She's interviewed a few women, and she has that interest. She's free birthed her child, and she's had a conversation. So I highly recommend to connect with her. Maybe you could collaborate.
What's her last name?
Abu Zara. I can send you her name or contact details, and you'll find her in the Possibility Creation Village. And then I'm not sure that I'm connected with you, Melissa, on Telegram, but I can send it to Jorge if that works.
Okay. I'm in the village as well.
Okay, then I will send you that.
Thank you.
And I want to share that we didn't plan to be here together tonight. It just happened. Like, I woke up and Melissa just asked me, like, "Can I join the WorkTalk?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, I think so." So we're here. Our children are sleeping in the other room, and we had this chance to connect.
Yeah,
Grateful
I'm
for
glad.
that.
Yeah, great. I'm glad. As I listen to you all, I'm also reminded of, like, I'm at a similar point of noticing that I can get really comfortable with what I'm doing. Like, I know how it goes, but then I know, okay, something's missing here. I'm not on my edge, or how do I go to the edge? And for that, team is so essential. Like, to have a team, to collaborate. I mean, it becomes so obvious to me that, the lone wolf thing is such a patriarchal pattern that it takes attention and it takes commitment to transform that. And there's all sort of stuff to discover along the way. And we can start collaborating right now. And we are actually collaborating right now. And I have, like, Millicent Hoey is in the background helping me to edit, and she asks me questions, and she's on my team really as the Edgecast team, and so is Annika Kosten and Hannah more in the background, ready to interview. And I wanted to be more active than that because I really want content to go out every week. And I notice how my job is changing, so that I keep being on my edge. My job is changing. I cannot keep doing that. Like, I need to replace myself. And that's where an Edgecast is a game world. An Edgecast in itself is a game world, and you can handle it like that. You can look at it as a game world, and that makes it really juicy. And for me, it makes it fun, because then I go, okay, what is the purpose of this game world? Like, you all mentioned something about the purpose of your Edgecast. And that, to be really clear with this purpose of your Edgecast, is it for women, or is it to empower women? Is it to tell birth stories? Is it to bring people into their bodies, help them come into their bodies? Is it to to inspire other edge workers that already know that they're edge workers? Or is it to open up cracks in consciousness for people that are pretty much in modern culture still? And so to be really clear about your purpose, what turns you on, what your necessity is, it needs to come from your necessity. And that then is like the purpose of your game world, of your Edgecast. And whether you call it podcast or not, do as you please. Edgecast is an invitation, and then there's then there's bright principles that you can serve. And so as I held space for this Edgecast, I noticed I'm actually putting all my skills to use, and that's why I find it so exciting, because I'm holding space for the energetic space. So I'm creating this energetic recording studio, so to speak, and I make a golden cube, a center ground bubble, make a golden cube, declare the bright principles of the space, and I usually, before I start speaking with the women that I interview, I invite them also to center ground and bubble, so that and I set the context of the space before we start recording. So and then bright principles are in the space, and they can do the work. So it's like getting out of the way so that the space can do the work. And for me, there are a lot of ways to be excited about this experiment where I want to learn more. I want to learn more about how do I open up a space even bigger? How do I make the space so big that it really, like, the things just flow through, and this other person speaks from their archetypal lineage. And if so, that is in the case of holding space for someone else to speak, interviewing, so to speak, is really a shift from mental body conversation to inviting something else, to inviting another way of speaking. And that is what I see makes it an Edgecast, is when it's not a mental conversation, it goes deeper than that, beyond that. And so for me, it's really about in my case, I'm totally excited about capturing the essence of behind stories. It's not so much about the stories. The stories are sort of the carrier technology, but what is the essence in there? And I want to get to that. And so for that, I'm refining my listening skills. This is what I'm excited about. It's like I want to learn a deeper and deeper ways of listening in a way that I haven't been able from modern culture. And then, with the 5 kinds of listening, I think it's 5. That's a great starting point. And then there are so many more flavors to explore. And that's not the only way you can do it. You can also, that goes into the direction of what you mentioned, Sarita, about now I'm the one holding space for interviews. How the fuck does that go? Yeah, it's like, scary. And this is how it goes. Yeah, yes is the answer. Is to step into and use, is really using the feelings to navigate your space, using your fear consciously to not know and to get the next piece, or to prepare yourself, to get a team together and say, hey, I want to experiment. Is someone available for me who's available that I can practice interviewing with you? And so to have fun, like, the main thing for me is like, this is something to have fun with. Like, as soon as I make this a boring work, it's dead. I don't want that to be a boring work. It's like, yes, high level fun. Like, where is your being excited about this? And then taking that as the fuel, or as the vacuum that pulls you into learning whatever you need to learn, so that it keeps nurturing you. Yeah. And I would like to have this sort of as a conversation. So if you have questions come up, just ask them, or if you have something to add, say it. Yeah.
As I hear you speaking this part about my purpose, like I'm not so clear about my purpose of creating an Edgecast. So all of these different default purposes come into the space of like, oh wait, I'm not, and also like my emotions about like I'm not gonna be liked, or nobody's gonna like it. People, and even Christina mentioned this one, like it's gonna be boring. Like I'm gonna be boring. Or it's not gonna make money. So like as I hear you speaking, like these emotions and these fears start coming up, and I haven't seen this part about like making it as a game world, which I'm turned on about. So just wanted to share that part that's coming up for me.
Yeah. Thank you. So that is something also to do with the team. And I would actually like to do that with you in this team, that we take a breakout room and go into a breakout room and you get to speak about your purpose, and the other one holds space to pull out more about your Edgecast purpose. And I would like, is one of you willing to help me make a breakout room, because I cannot do that on my tablet. So one of you are you willing? Thank you, Annika. I'm not used to that. Okay, let's do that. So we'll make breakout rooms. Are you, Jorge and Melissa, do you want to be in the same one, or is there a way that you can be in separate ones? Do you have another device to use to log in?
Yeah, I can hop on my phone. Yep.
I think it could be beneficial because you know each other so well that you get a different perspective.
Cool.
Yep. 2, 4, 6. Yeah.
When I organized the breakfast, I also wanted to say something to what you said, that you wanted want to like to open up the space even bigger, so words can come through. And for me, it probably happened when you did this interview with Julia, but it's like, in a way, the space got bigger is not particularly the episode, but also that I don't know if you did it before, but that you shared the Possibility Creation Village also invited the game world to to support the Edgecast, because then there was somehow a shift in the game world that it was like, hey, there's something really big going on and you can be a part of it, and you better be a part of it because it's very important. This kind of way, like, and also, I mean, you invited also women from there, which are not particularly from possibility management, but I think the shift is also to invite even more women from other game worlds. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Yes, that's where I notice. Thank you. This is where I notice I get more fun. Like, it was so scary for me to actually start this conversation with Julia. It's that there was so much emotional fear, and navigating the emotions is also about, okay, you don't have to be fully healed to do what you're here for. Yes, go through the emotional healing process, but then also navigating is like, okay, yeah, there's an emotional fear and I'm going to do it anywhere. And then there's feeling fear, and I need that to navigate. But that wasn't actually as big as my emotional fear would make me think. And then I was in there and just had so much fun that I'm like, okay, next one. So I wrote to Joanna Macy, and she's not available, but it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go with who I want to speak to, and maybe another one says yes. So it's just to go anyway.
I love that. It brings a whole new dimension to edge workers, like connecting people from this edge with people to this edge and bringing the edges together somehow, like cross-pollinating from the edge.
And honestly, I didn't listen as much before this particular episode. There you really got me hooked. Because for me it's a difference, because it's like, yeah, like Nicole said, it's like this, yeah, like it's, I can't explain.
Well, I think maybe you're picking up on something that I've noticed in the game world, is that we need to I see the necessity to branch out more. Yeah, as you say, Nicole, connect with other edges, find other edge workers, and not stay in this enclave of, and there's some people doing trainings and workshops to build bridges, but like there are more bridges to be built so that the village grows. And maybe not the village grows, maybe we're just connecting like mycelium network to other edges, so it doesn't even need to simulate it, but that people know that this is here and that they could tap into all these amazing tools. And there's others, people that find crazy cool stuff also. Yeah, it's I think Julia actually said it, and I loved it. She said, bridge is a two-way. It goes into both ways.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's make a, what time is it now? Yeah, let's go like 5 minutes each. And so you're gonna go into breakout rooms of 2. We make breakout rooms of 2 people each, Annika. Oh, I need to give you
and
a host.
who is are you the person who is not in a breakout room?
Yeah, so I will not be in a breakout room. Somehow I need to make you host first. I'm trying as co-host, see if that works.
No, it doesn't
It
give me
doesn't.
any rights to create
Okay,
breakout
then
rooms.
I will make you the host. And maybe you can make me the co-host then. This is shifting power, flowing power to each other.
Yes.
Which is another thing that
Let's
Edgecasts
see.
do, hey? Like it's
Yes.
flowing power to another voice.
Yeah.
Okay, and now breakout rooms. Okay, let's see. Create what? 3 breakout rooms.
Yeah.
And okay. I think there will be an invitation for you, Julia, but maybe
Okay.
you don't accept
If you
it.
make me co-host, then I can jump around. That would be cool.
Yeah, you should be co-host now.
Okay, cool. Then
And then I will join Sarita in this room. Let's experiment.
Okay, so then we'll wait for a moment. So 5 minutes each, and then one person holds space, and so you declare your grounding chord, center ground bubble, and just ask the other person, what is the purpose of your Edgecast or your broadcast? And then let this person speak and listen, really like making the space empty, so you're not limited by your mental body, so that you listen for that what their being really wants to bring forth. And then you can ask question from that place to deepen the help them, or he's also here, deepen the context. And then after 5 minutes, swap. Or maybe actually take a minute to write down like the essence, so that you have that captured, and then swap. And then 5 minutes plus 1. And I think you will have, I'm not sure.
Okay. I lost Julia.
Sarita, what do you do in the other time of your life? Surely, give me a few hints. Do you have a job? Do you have family?
Yeah, I have 2 children and I home educate them, so that is
Your
really
job.
my main. Yeah, that's my work.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, welcome back. Apologies for the mess. Technology, it's not on my side these days. I'm learning to surf it differently, and I would prepare a bit better next time. But good thing I have a team. And I would love to hear a few snippets. What did you find out? Like, what is, or if you just tell us, like, what is the purpose of your Edgecast? Do you have a couple of sentences distilled, or do you have a new piece? Like, what is it?
I feel like I have a paragraph, but it's
Go.
it's this really to empower parents to step into adult culture so that a new culture for children can exist.
Yay.
I
I'm glad
want to
about
listen to
that.
that Edgecast.
Me too.
Wow.
I'm writing it down right now, distilling what I did in the room with Nicole, and the one line is something like women telling their raw, wild birth stories from all 5 bodies. Yeah.
Wow. Yay.
Melissa,
Wow.
what comes to me is something like 5-body birthing or something like.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that could be interesting to anybody too. It's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I found that more for me it's more about being hooked into the next evolution of your game world, Julia, than it's really about my Edgecast. It's not yeah, that's it.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Being hooked into the evolution of my Edgecast?
Yeah, that I don't really have something new in a way of another Edgecast. It's more about, okay, let's interview more women, more
Okay.
indigenous cultures, crazy women everywhere.
Yes.
And I noticed that my blog is more about this thing of, oh, I have to create it, and then it's already there because you did it then with Edgecast, and now I don't know really what's my place in, yeah. Is it about creating also another Edgecast, or is it more about collaborating right now? Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So interviewing women, holding space for women to speak, I think is more the terminology that I'm finding, is something that excites you. Then let's speak. Then yeah, let's talk about possibilities to collaborate with RAW. Definitely. Let's keep breathing. It seemed like the whole space stopped the breath for a moment. I don't know how and when, but yeah, keep breathing.
Yeah,
Space.
for me, yeah, go Nicole.
in my space with Melissa, she asked this question, and I can't quite remember how it went, but somehow I ended up more on my edge with her in the space about my purpose, and it was really this edge to edge thing where other creators of archaearchy cross pollinate and 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 then like kind of create more bridges by illuminating that there are more bridges into next culture. And also my edge about that is to discern more clearly when the distinction between how I'm perpetuating patriarchy and how I'm creating archaearchy, and so that I can more often catch myself when I'm not creating archaearchy, or when I'm perpetuating patriarchy or using patriarchal thoughtware. Yeah, so just really kind of create it by doing it with others who are doing it, and talking about it in all five of our bodies, and owning
Nicole,
the messes.
what is one person that you want to speak with? Do you have already an edge worker that creates archaearchy that you want to speak with or hear from, or maybe an organization?
Nobody right now, nobody outside of possibility management comes to mind, and I'm mad about that, because I don't want possibility management to be this exclusive tools for creating archaearchy, and yet I still don't really clearly see it. I don't clearly see other game worlds, and I think that is because I haven't been going outside of, or maybe I've just been having eyes for patriarchy still happening in edgy game worlds.
Well, and we can also like make ourselves crazy with thoughts. So this could be your starting point. You start with the first person that comes up to you, even no matter whether they're in PM or not. And then you start there. And then you speak to them, your necessity to speak with others. And if anybody is interested, like you can also, like, it's opening up the space. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how are you creating archaearchy? And they might say, what's archaearchy? And then I can say, blah, and you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
And then they might, like, who knows, maybe they go liquid because they find out that they're creating archaearchy.
Yeah. Cool. You can only create from where you are, and you don't have to be anywhere else than where you are. And there you create. And this is the starting point, and then the next starting point, and then the next starting point.
Wow. I got this picture of taking a recording device and a microphone and just saying, hello, how are you creating archaearchy? And eventually find someone with and make a montage of answers. And oh wow, that turns anybody into a possible creator of archaearchy.
Cool. I look forward to hearing it. Okay, Annika, you had something. You had it already on the tip of your tongue.
Yes, the purpose is some gremlin blah 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 coming up right now. And about like connecting to where you are, and a bit like a reality check, that talking to somebody and they share where they are, not geographically, but like in their life, what's going on for them, what do they care about, what things interest them, and like just like creating these bubbles so they can speak into that and share what's going on, and how is it working or how is it not working for them. And that could, and that would be the seed that could then like ignite somebody else's fire to see that something else is possible, because that thing that came up with both me and Sarita, that something else is possible. Yeah, it's just that.
It's like planting seeds for different possibility.
Yeah.
And I heard this part, Annika, about finding your ex in the map, something like that. Having this reality check of like, I think I'm here, but like finding that trail back to reality.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does
because
he have
we
a
have
name?
what does what have a name?
Does he have a name? Your Edgecast, or that space that you're creating?
Coming down to earth.
Coming down to earth.
And that is reality, yeah. It's coming into a physical realm.
Yeah, it's something very like, being like grounded and standing where you are.
So for that, you will need a bit of bullshit slaying in a way that you stand beside the person and you're not killing them. But that would be an immense value to help them come into reality as you speak. Or yeah.
Yeah. And I realized there's a bit of a like eggshell thing happening sometimes in the broadcast. That like, no, this I can't, like, with playing safe, and I like don't want that anymore. Needs to be a bit more dangerous.
Yes. Go.
Go.
Yeah, and letting yourself also be really like excited or pulled by the danger instead of have to be dangerous. This is the pressure that doesn't work, I think. It's like finding the next step danger and taking just one, like committing to do one dangerous move, one dangerous question. When the fear comes up, you go anyway. Allowing yourself to make mistakes and then notice what happens in you. And you might notice that, whoa, I come more alive, and I want more of that.
Yeah, and for me, it's also been this practicing to being in the unknown and just being in the now, because I rarely plan anything, and I don't plan any questions. They could be like this general topic. Then we just come into the space and start, and then sometimes it goes all kinds of places. And and sometimes I'm like, shoot, I don't know what to do next. And then like 5 seconds later, we're in another like theme. So it's so much fun to be there, like flowing with the energy of that space.
Yeah, and as I listen, I also get joy at the possibility of experimenting with radical shifts. I have a tendency also to flow elegantly from space to space, and what there's more possibility if I can also shift radically and just go somewhere go entirely somewhere else. To have that as a possibility in the tool belt, which brings more aliveness.
Awesome.
What about your purpose, Jorge?
Yeah. Christina asked me this really awesome question of, my purpose is of creating spaces for men to feel, for learn how to feel. And as I was like going into that purpose more, Christina asked me this question of like, what if no man comes, or what if it doesn't work? Something like that. Is like I was doing it for something, for creating something, and that question just brought it back to like more like about what is, it's like what is my edge, something like that. Yeah, and there was this other question. it's also, yeah, about the really this my head, but yeah, this challenge that men have about feeling, and that there is no, like, so far men haven't been so much attracted to feeling, to this work of feelings work. I have like crickets in the spaces that I'm creating, and yeah, I'm looking for those bridges. Like, what is the bridge? Maybe it's not feelings, but it's something else that leads them to saying, I want to feel more. I want to really dive into what's happening in my heart, and learning how to use that.
Yeah,
So,
and I propose you start from there. Or you start from what is really burning in your heart. What is it that you can no longer accept? And what is it that you like, that you let your heart burn, that you let your heart break about what's actually happening with men, and you start from there. If you go about feelings, that needs to be at the center of it, if you're turned on by that.
yeah, I have a heartbreak about it. Yeah. It's about the numbness, the level of numbness that it's all around me. And thank you for that.
And yeah, thank you for admitting that. And the question by Christina was really great, because it brought as a broadcast, it can be easy to focus on the audience. Yeah, who's the audience? What do I need to get them? What do I need to do so I get more people to listen? And it takes away from, this is when it becomes more like a modern culture job, because you need to be connected to the source, and the source comes through you. That which turns you on needs to be the fuel. And then it is about building bridges so others can find you, but that's a totally different perspective than marketing. Yeah, it's like, how do I translate that fire that is in me so that others can hear it? Or who do I need to speak to so that they know about this? So it's not about marketing, it's about making it known. And yeah, and that's really like, okay, what is here? It's not going towards something, it's where do you come from for the edgecasting? And any creative project, really, any game world that you create, it's like, it's not so much what do I go to, it's where do I come from? What is my purpose? What is my necessity? Like, your unique necessity is the piece that needs to come through you. And edgecasting can be one means how you bring that forth.
It's super relevant. That's exactly where I'm at right now. Like, I've been leaning into the audience. Like, do you like me? Does this work? Do you want to do this? And in that, like, I'm losing my edge, I'm losing my center, I'm losing my being in connection with my source. And that's precisely the shift that's happening in my spaces of, like, leaning back and connecting with my source, and letting that be the source, letting that be where I share from.
And okay, I had another question for you, which was, what are you taking a stand for?
Are you asking me now, or are you asking Jorge?
No, Jorge.
Taking a stand for. I'm taking a stand for family, for this family and village community to happen in the world. From my own pain of not having that for me and my children. That's one edge. And right now I'm taking a stand for men, for creating this, like, discovering. I'm in the Fear Club with Devin and Kian and Martin about men's culture, and like what is men's culture in archaearchy. And it's like, that space is so vibrating right now, and so I'm taking a stand for discovering that inside of me. What is it? So, like, how does it go? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I could keep talking about what I'm taking a stand for, because there's like a lot in there. Yeah, I love nature too, and yeah, maybe there is a more dangerous question or something.
Yeah, it was. There just seemed for me this bridge between what you're taking a stand for and the purpose of your broadcast. It's and what really stuck out was men's culture. Like that's a big part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely necessary. Go. And even if it's like there's also a way of documenting what others are doing. Yeah. There's all this research happening in the Fear Club. Start there. Interview, speak to that. What do you get out of it? Interview the space holders, interview the participants, ask whether you can publish some of the snippets from the actual recordings if you're recording the space. And there's a way, yeah, so there's not one format, right? And this is the cool thing. So you can make it whatever you want it to be. You can really have fun in creating, and including sound, and including questions, including distinctions that you bring, interviewing random people on the street and putting that together. And there's, what was I going to say? Slipping away. Yeah, have fun with it. Like, this is a creative process. It's really a creative process where, yeah, the storytelling, in a way, this it's a means of storytelling, and to make it like humans learn through storytelling. This is innately in us, and delivering it in a way that is digestible. That is an edge for me. Like, how do I deliver it that it can be heard? And that's not so much about the others. It's also about like taking care of the technology, that the audio quality is good, that there's like a snap. How do I snap the audience? How do I make it so that they get, here's something in it for me? So what kind of a snippet do I take? There's an intro. Is there an intro? Is there music at the beginning? What kind of music? And it becomes an artwork. This is a creative process, and then writing it up as a description and publishing it and sharing it. And this is all part of the process. And some of it you might enjoy, and other parts maybe you don't like so much. And you can also look for team members that you collaborate with, people that, maybe some people love editing and you don't, then collaborate with people that love editing. This is the beauty of collaboration, that we love different things, and then together it becomes this amazing piece of art. Yeah.
I was
Is there another
inspired.
question? Yeah.
Yeah, I was inspired by what you said, this idea of interviewing participants from a rage club or a fear club. And what also is relevant for me is you could potentially interview your participants each week on their journey, so they're sharing how it goes for them. And that might be a really tangible way. Like, the thing that came to me somehow is like Legends from the Edge or something, like, just a series of, you're able to follow their story of how it went.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was reminded that in another space there was come up like this question, that what does it mean to be an adult woman? And also with Jorge, what does it mean to be an adult man? Like what like could also be like a big question that goes through every episode. And so for me, that's something I want to more dive into. Like, what does it really mean to be an adult woman? What are all the parts that come to that?
Questions. Yeah. So yeah, if we're going more, are there any other questions around broadcasting, edgecasting that you bring? From where you are at?
I'm scared it might not be the right time to ask this question, and I want to hear one or two legends from you, Julia, about your experience in this last year of creating your Edgecast. And perhaps a kind of legend that would create value for us to hear it right now.
Thank you. Great. You're bringing me to my age. Well, I mean, for me, it is a legend for me that I've celebrated 1 year in February, and if I looked up today, it's like, how many episodes have I done? And I've done like 82 episodes over this months, yeah. And that is from the commitment of drumming really every week. And I mean, I have skipped a week with the odd week, but it's really, I'm so reminded of a session I had with you, Jorge, on the archetypal music or bring your music. It's like you're beating in time, and committing to a beat will help you go through. Yeah. So no matter what the beat is, whether it's weekly, whether it's bi-weekly, whether it's every 3 weeks, whether it's every 10 days, whether it's once a month, but that you commit to a beat, and then you can follow that beat in time. Yeah. So that's one thing. And another thing that it's also like, I love growing with it, to go from, okay, I looked up at the start, what is a good length for an Edgecast? Or I looked, what is a good length for a podcast? And I read up, and it's like, okay, good lengths where most people listen to is about 20 to 30 minutes is the majority of people take time to listen to that. And I said, that works fine for me, because that gives, that brings it to the point. I don't want to make a hour-long episodes. Just like, I want to go to the point. I want to go to the essence, right? And so I made it really strict. It's like, okay, 20 minutes. And then it's like, okay, maybe a minute more or a minute less is okay. But I really went on 20 minutes quite strictly until it became necessary. It's like, somehow this is a bit squeezed. Let's make it more spacious. And so now it's somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And if it's that's just a guideline. Yeah? And if it's a bit longer, okay. And still, it's a guideline that I find useful, because that's what I come into a space with and say, we'll be around 20 to 30 minutes. Let's see how this goes. And then around 30 minutes at the latest, I cut it off. And it works for me, and often the space lands. So holding intention for the time is also a rhythm, in that then it's a different relation to time, where you hold the intention, and then the content also flows to the landing with the time. Yeah. Well, and I notice it with different projects in this Edgecast. Also, it's pulled me, like my commitment to the Edgecast pulls me into my evolution. Yeah, because I had the commitment to the Edgecast, I decided I need a space. Where I used to live with Jay, I needed a space. I couldn't record in the general space because people would walk around. It's like, I need a space. Okay. And then I started to build the RAW headquarters, this wooden building, and I called in the whole community so I would have a creation space. And that was a massive learning curve, to use my feelings for creation, for a real material creation. And yeah, you might say it's not a success story because I don't live there right now. I'm not in that building, and I'm still liquid with what am I going to do with it. But I've noticed that with other projects too, that even though it might then look to me like into my box, like this is not a success, shit, what happened? It's the things that happened on the way have transformed me. So the success is my transformation happening. And while I was at the beginning already thinking, oh, I want to interview people that have, you know, a lot of followers or that have a voice or something, I wasn't ready then. And I'm like a year in, or a bit more than a year in, my box freakout is not so big that I wouldn't reach out to women that are more visible than my box maybe could handle. So this is also, it's like by beating the drum, by learning, by going with my passion, I get somewhere else naturally, because I love doing it. And that's my edge right now, is I keep coming to this point of, can I really allow myself to do this as my profession? Yeah, like that's also a challenge for me. It's like, how do I make that financially so that I can live doing this without pressure? But because I love, like, how can I do this my job? Make this really my full-time job, or you know, a large part of my job. And you know, I had a lot of advice earlier on that this is not a full-time job. This is more something where people can find me, and then I hold coaching spaces for them. And that's not really my necessity so much. Like, yes, I want to work with women. Yes, I want them to go into in-person spaces, and that's not the results I'm creating with this Edgecast. And again, I'm noticing I love holding space for these listening spaces. This is what I love doing. And so how can I allow myself to craft this into a fully flown profession, so to speak? And one thing that I've done is, that's why I'm wearing this thing, is I got this jacket, and this is my Edgecasting jacket. So it's an identity shift. Yeah, it's like I go into a different identity. So I put this on, and the others know, oh, Julia, you're going Edgecasting. Yeah, and then I shift from the lounge to the next room, and I'm at work, so to speak. So you can have fun like that. Also, get your outfit. You know, what do you look like when you're an Edgecaster, and what kind of clothing would you wear as that, or a broadcaster, or whatever. Like, to, you know, I used to be a lawyer, and I woke up internally at one point looking down, and was like, wow, it's like I'm dressing up into this identity of a lawyer. Put the striped, you know, the needle striped suit on, and the fancy shoes, and then I look like a lawyer. And this is what you put on when you look like a lawyer. And so consciously choosing the identity that you want to inhabit and making it your own is also a fun part of the creative process that you could embrace. There really are no limits, and there are real tangible things to learn on the journey of technology, of audio quality, of editing, publication, and so on. So since there's also something about that to learn. There are, I don't know what you're using, but you know, you can use YouTube for that, for your videos, but I think you can also use publish videos on Spotify. I haven't tried that. There's podcasting platforms that you can use that distribute to a variety of channels just by publishing on one platform. Are you aware of that? Are you all set with the technology side of things? So there is like Podcasters for Spotify is an app or website. You can find it as a website and as an app. And if you create a profile there, it's for free, and then you can choose on which platforms it goes. And then it goes to Spotify, it can go to Apple Podcasts, it can go to Google Podcasts, it goes to all the common platforms. So you don't have to individually upload or something. So it's one platform. There are others, but that's the one I use. Podcasters for Spotify. And then I also use a website. I upload it on my website, but it goes from that Podcasters for Spotify that has an RSS feed, and I take that and put it on my website, and then it also automatically goes on my website, so that I don't have to fiddle around with that. So using a free platform where already other listeners are, and if they happen to, and then they can stumble across this Edgecast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have on this Edgecasting website that I've created, edgecast.mystrikingly.com, and you will find there's one article called "How to Create an Edgecast" or something. There's one blog entry, and it's based on an article that I read, and that I just found this one article, and I took it and followed that, and it set me up to start and gave me some hints. So, and I've gone through it and looked at how does it apply to Edgecast and changed it a little. So you'll find some information there. And if you have any technical questions, you can also ask me. If you go like, okay, what kind of software do you use for editing, or what kind of microphones do you use? Or like, as you can see, I'm using this right now, and that works pretty well. Yeah, that's the great thing. You don't need a lot of equipment to start, and you can also really learn as you go. You can shift, go, beep, shift, go. This is such a beep, shift, go environment. I started out calling it podcast, and then I renamed it into an Edgecast after a few episodes, and I've just, I listened to the intro just before this. I was like, wow, this is really outdated. So I'm going to create another intro trailer because this is really outdated. So yeah, letting it grow with you. And what I sense is really like where I want a team is to figure some of these things out, where in classical podcasting, I think you can get sponsors on board, or you have to, it goes with algorithms, and you pay ads and all sorts of things so that you get more people, more followers, and the more followers you have, the more better sponsors you get, and you can live off that. And that's not I'm not interested in that path so much. And I'm interested in reaching people. So that's one edge, is like, okay, which groups to connect with, how to build a circle basically for the Edgecast. And then also how to build the bridge from the Edgecast to game worlds. Teamwork I think is great for that. Yeah, this is the landing point, and teamwork is where I want to invite you into a Telegram group where we keep researching together. Are you in for that, or is anyone not interested in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicole, Melissa?
I'm in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm also sitting on an idea for 4 weeks, maybe journey together of setting it up, like getting started, something like that. But I don't have the details of that. I would just let you know in the Telegram group. And my invitation is that you use that Telegram group as a team to figure things out together. Like, you have a question or you're stuck. It's like, hey, I'm stuck. I need someone to ask me a question, and then try it out. Yeah.
Cool.
Super.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yay.
your questions, your curiosity, and your drive to create content for people to find Archiarchy.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank
I'm excited to start casting.
Yeah, go casting. Cast well.
Yeah.
Cast
Big
fiercely.
fish.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Julia, for holding space for this. It's exciting. It's fiery.
Yes.
Thank you, Julia, for going first in this big way, and then bringing us in.
Honor. Yeah. Okay, so this is us for now, and go well into your nights. Go well into your days.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you in the Telegram groups.
See you in the next
Bye-bye.
space. Yes.
Yeah. Goodbye
Yeah.
for now.
Goodbye. Bye for now.
Bye.